This episode of Deep in the Weeds is proudly supported by Olsen Salt, makers of Australian sea salt since 1948.
The future is bright, and I believe that a grateful heart and spirit is a magnet for miracles, and there's got to be miracles that come out of COVID. As I say again, looking with my rose-coloured glasses. So I'm really looking forward to leaping into the future and very determined to get my world back.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Last time we caught up with Rowie Dillon, her company had lost 90% of business, and with the airlines grounded, she wasn't sure how things would pan out. Today, things are very different. Rowie, how are you? I'm
well, thanks, Huck. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a hell of a year for lots of people, and particularly your life has changed dramatically even since the last time we spoke. Tell us a bit about what's happened with Rowie's Cakes and yourself.
It's hard to actually know where to start, but over the past couple of days, knowing that I was going to be speaking to you, it's actually been really quite cathartic for me, because Rowie's Cakes that I've been doing for 20 years, last year was its 20th year. As you said, Rowie's Cakes died during COVID, and I was completely, and still am completely, gutted by that. For me, it was like, I've never had children, but because I've worked too hard. But it was like losing a child. And for me, also losing my team and letting my team go, that was like cutting off my tentacles, if that makes any sense. So, and being that my team and that little empire was my business and my world as such that I'd worked so tirelessly at for the past 20 years, I actually was quite at a loss, and I haven't really realised until the past couple of months that I was really completely depressed and gutted, and there were times that it was very hard to get out of bed, but it's the support of others and the gratitude of people and the words and support that have kind of got me through. And then I look back, and as I said when I spoke to you last time, I actually draw a lot of pictures and write a lot of stories. Well, there was a lot of stories and a lot of pictures going on, along with the tears and, you know, the heartache, like the heartache that you know when you get that ache in the centre bone of your chest, when you just feel like your whole world has been ripped from underneath your feet. It was probably the most horrible 12 months of my life, I would say, or 10 months of my life. But in amongst all of that, not that I always look at the world through rose-coloured glasses, but I kind of do, the future is bright. So I've created a new brand that's just about to launch. First massive delivery is tomorrow, actually.
Oh,
wow. My new brand is called Food and Heart Co. And it's an Australian-owned food manufacturing business that cares for our world. That's what so typical of me. I had a post response from a really gorgeous friend on Instagram last week. And it was really amazing as I was going through all this process of like, wow, well, what have I, look at where you've come and what you've been through. And she actually said, you're the ultimate love story to all of us allergy queens. Your work is phenomenal and changed my life the very first time I tasted your wares, but your heart is just so special and huge. Thank you for everything that you give and everything that you do. And I woke up and read that at 5 a.m. and I was bawling my eyes out because I thought to myself, wow, that's so awesome. And that so just means that what I'm creating with Food and Heart Co. is the right way to go. Because being that I have that Rowie's Cakes was around for 20 odd years or 20 years, it was kind of a bit part of that grief was like losing my identity. Because I'll always be Rowie's Cakes, but now I'm, at Food and Heart Co. So Rowie's Cakes will always be tied to me, but there is no business Rowie's Cakes, but all of my creativity and my love of producing awesome allergy-free food is Food and Heart Co. And that, in a lot of ways, for me, allows me to actually explore more than just desserts.
What's helped during this time, and how have you been able to come to terms with the end of Rowie's Cakes and heal and move forward? You mentioned it was hard to get out of bed at some times, but you found the drive. What helped in that time to alleviate that?
Support of beautiful friends, and also I did something that I would never, ever do. My friends and family have been beautiful, and not only that, because it's like, Huck, I don't know how to explain. It's like everything's in hibernation. Credit cards are in hibernation. Rent for home is in hibernation. Car payments in hibernation. They've all been so good. So I've kind of been living out of the coins in the console of my car, and on it's been incredibly hard. And in December, the middle of December, I got one of those letters, and sorry for being a little bit sort of out there, to go and get a breast screen. So I drove down to the medical centre and I got an appointment and went in and I came up the lift, had my COVID test as I went in and did my screen. That was all fine. And then I walked out and I saw this sign that said mental health clinic. And I thought, and I'm not one, like I don't go to the shops and swan around the shops for 3 or 4 hours. It's not my style. I'm in, out, on to the next thing. So I went down there and I said, listen, I am wondering if you can help me. I've been traumatised. And they said, well, we're not a counselling service. And I said, I actually don't need counselling. I need help. And I don't know who to talk to. The next thing you know, I was sitting down with 2 nurses in the mental health clinic at a community centre for the next 2.5 hours talking about what I've been through, the good, the bad and the really ugly, and how I had suffered the loss of my business, but also how I have been treated by others throughout that process and treated by others in a good way, but also in a bad and an ugly one. And that was really hard. And they have been so supportive. So ever since that day, they phoned me every day.
Wow.
Every single day up until the middle of January. And then, and I had no idea that this kind of service was available through New South Wales Health. And I'm not one for, group hugs and bonding with a whole lot of people, telling them that, yesterday I felt like jumping off a cliff and all of that. That's just not my style. So now I go to the hospital once a week and spend an hour and a half having conversations with a guy about where I'm at. And he's a psychiatrist, and it's fantastic, and it's a really good thing that I've done, because there are a lot of people, close friends and family, that were quite concerned about me in the beginning. But not only that, one of the other lights at the out of the dark tunnel was this time last year I started doing the soup kitchen with our mate Colin Fasnage. So I think I've only missed a couple of Mondays, but I drive, for an hour and a half there, or an hour and 15 minutes there, an hour and 15 minutes back, and we hand out bags of food to the community in the Banksia region. And even yesterday, they're still the same, and I make vegan mousses, and I take them along and share them out, or brownies or whatever. And there's a team of about 7 of us that have done that, and with Colin, just supporting and providing and donating food. And we've got the same amount of people, if not, there was actually more last week and yesterday. So I'm not sure what's going to happen over the next few weeks or months with JobKeeper, but the gratitude that Colin and the team and I get from the people that we hand the bags out to, that's unlocked a lot of love out of my heart. So it was actually one of the things that just kept me going.
This episode of Deep in the Weeds is proudly supported by Olsen Salt, makers of Australian sea salt since 1948.
The sea has given my family everything. My family harvests the pristine waters from the Great Australian Bight to make some of the best sea salt in the world. Hi, I'm Alex Olsen from Olsen Sea Salt. We are the oldest family-owned salt company in Australia. We took over the leases of Pacific Salt in Baruka on the Yorke Peninsula in the early 1960s, and then when the BHP salt leases in Whyalla became available, my father took those over as well. If anyone has visited Whyalla, know it's a very, very windy place. So the 3 things you need to make salt are seawater, wind and sun, and you get plenty of all 3 of those here. Wind is a really important factor in making good sea salt because it creates a greater surface area for the sun to evaporate the water, creating brine much faster. We take the seawater from Great Australian Bight and then we store it in something called a primary pond. Then it's fed through a succession of ponds from anywhere between 8 months and 2 years until it gets so heavy in brine and the water is evaporated off, the salt starts to fall out of the water, and it's as simple as that. That's all that we do, and then we wash it in seawater and package it.
For more information, go to olsens.com.au. You've had as tough a year as anybody, and you're still on the path of healing. But that soup kitchen project has been extraordinary, where you're going through a pretty tough time, but you're helping others that are also in need. What sort of impact has it had on you?
It's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. I actually gave Colin a card yesterday to thank him for allowing me to be part of the soup kitchen, or his soup kitchen. It's been incredible because it's that simplicity of giving. So it's the simplicity of giving and the simplicity of actually seeing people receive, and after a certain amount of time, you know their faces. And they go, "Hi, Rowie, we missed you last week," or, so you know their faces. And these are people, who are mostly in need, and it's mostly like, the food and the fruit and the vegetables and the bread and stuff that they put on their tables, because most of the people in that area, in the Banksia, Rockdale, Arncliffe area, are all connected in some form. A lot of them are connected with the airline industry or providers thereof, the airline industry. So it's it's quite incredible. But I think with what's going on with the economy at the moment and the changes with the JobKeeper, that it will probably increase in the amount of bags that we hand out per week, because it's tough.
You briefly mentioned that there is a light amongst this darkness, and it's Food and Heart Co., a new company that you've created. There's no doubt the influence, and astounding influence, that Rowie's Cakes had on changing the perceptions of gluten-free eating and dairy-free eating, and that won't be forgotten. But tell us about Food and Heart Co., and given the last year that you've had, what will we see from that?
So isn't it amazing, out of like sheer, when you're in the deeps, in the wallows, and then all of a sudden I looked back last week and I thought to myself, my God, out through all of this stuff that I've been through, I've actually created a fantastic brand. So the design and the artwork is, and the photography and the food is incredible. So it's probably going to be, for me, the next level of what was Rowie's Cakes, but I am, as I said before, still Rowie. So, I really want to focus on, again, with the airlines again, and with, leading retailers, but I also want to focus on childcare and aged care, and be able to provide all of those allergy-free foods that are pre-packaged, that cover gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, nut-free, vegan, you name it. So I think that it's certainly unlocked a lot in my heart. I wish the podcast was visual, and then I'd be able to show you the branding I've got in there. But the heart is really generous, and because Food and Heart Co., as I said before, is Australian food manufacturing business that cares for our world. That's why we're all heart. It's all environmental. All the packaging is environmental. It cares for the world right through from, the landfill stage through to the ingredients. All of the ingredients are Australian. It's beautiful. I'm incredibly excited. So I've got 5 SKUs going into Harris Farm markets tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, which is really, really, really exciting. So, and that's the other exciting thing. I can't do any of this without the support of the people who have been part of my supply chain for the past 20 years. And be their suppliers or customers, those guys are the ones that have also supported me and got me through. Because when I had to explain to them that it wasn't my decision about Rowie's Cakes, but I will come out the other side, they have been so beautiful. understand my creativity. I remember going and seeing a beautiful customer, and he said, the reason we want to work with you is because of your creativity. You're an amazing person to work with to conceive up products. So I left that meeting thinking, my God, that's just incredibly amazing. And it's those kind of words that help you get through. It's that gratitude that releases and unlocks that depression or loss or grief. It's very hard to explain. So I think I was having a few ladies in the industry over for lunch, and the day before I had the day at home cleaning frenzy as I do, and I packed up all my Rowie's Cakes T-shirts and Sloppy Joes and hats, and I put them all in a box into the linen cupboard, and I felt some form of release. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know whether people will think that I'm crazy. But, because I kind of feel like the past 10 months have been like I've been not that I'm a drama queen, of course, but I feel like I've been like a leading lady in a horror movie. So it's just been, it's been incredible. But I know, I've got some support to get through. I've just got to get through the next, and I've got some gratuitous support. It's just getting through the next 2 months. But I know I will, because I'm a warrior, and now I'm on my own. I'm doing this on my own, in my own way, with my own food, as I've always done, with my own creativity, as I've always done, and I will succeed. So I'll turn my life around, and everything will be fantastic. I had no, what I've been through, COVID was a walk in the park compared to what I've been through. So, and I'm really excited about the future. I do speak to my team. I have got a couple of my team back. So we talk all the time, and they've been through their own. A lot of my staff work for me for a long time. So, and my clients want to work with me, which is really amazing. But the other thing is I think that we all need to understand that whether or not we have businesses and brands or jobs that we love that are like, our world, that it's really important to kind of just, to respect people's grief or loss or heartache and losing that, because, as I say, the future is bright, and I believe that a grateful heart and spirit is a magnet for miracles, and there's got to be miracles that come out of COVID, as I say again, looking with my rose-coloured glasses. So I'm really looking forward to leaping into the future and very determined to get my world back.
Rowie's Cakes is known for so many incredible products. Is there a product or a line that you can tell us about that will be available as of tomorrow that you're really proud of?
Ooh. So, well, I'd have to say one of my old favourites is the chestnut of a brownie. And the other one is a gorgeous product that I've created called the Golden Corner. So it's not a muesli bar, it's a square. So it's, that's a stunning product as well. So, I love the Golden Corner.
Can you tell us a bit more about it?
So it's like Australian brown puffed rice. It's all different seeds, amaranths, etc., all sorts of different things, and I've bound it together with some rice malt syrup, honey, but also I've crushed pepitas, and we've got, Australian sultanas and all sorts of, it's really nice. So it's not, it's low on the sugar, which is why it's, from Food and Heart Co., but still tastes quite sweet, and it cares for the tummy. But it's not, you know how some muesli bars are kind of too honeyish and they just break and crumble? This is like eating it's more like eating a slice. So it's just, it's bloody yummy, bloody yummy, bloody yummy. So we love the Golden Corner. I love my brownies, and then I've got some biscuits as well and a bit of confectionery. So it's really, really exciting. So, and they all tick the boxes of gluten-free, dairy-free and vegan.
Well, you mentioned that it'll be available in Harris Farms shortly. What's it going to feel like when you start seeing, Food and Heart Co. products on shelves and in airlines? How will you feel?
Unreal banana peel. So I can't wait. So I am actually, and it's only been in the past couple of weeks that we've sort of moved, because when COVID first, or when all of this happened in August, I thought, what the hell am I going to do? And I couldn't work for anybody. So being that my garage was tiled, I converted my garage to a little kitchen and bought a 20-litre mixer. And the guy that did my deliveries way back in the day, 20 years ago, I rang him and said, do you have a spare freezer? And he loaned me a chest freezer. And I started doing mousses for people in quarantine out of the garage. I got my HACCP certificate for the garage because it was the only way I knew sort of how to survive. But seeing Food and Heart Co. stamped everywhere, and I'm sitting here, what I did was I sat down, I thought, I'm just going to surround myself with all of the branding while I talk to Huck. And I'll leave I'll tell him the guts of the grease and the loss of identity, which is a reality for a lot of people who will lose their businesses through COVID-19, and through what I call now an economic pandemic, not a viral one. That's the reality of what will happen to a lot of Australian businesses over the next 6 months. So we're now in Warriewood, which for all of those people that in other areas of Australia, I live on the northern beaches, and I've decided to not go into the city this time. I'm only 10 minutes from work, and I've decided to be on the northern beaches, which will still allow me to ship my product around the country like I normally do. And I've got 2 staff in the kitchen at the moment, another 1 pending. So I will get to my 30 people again, or whatever it was. I might get to more, actually. So I've transferred my garage to a commercial kitchen in.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're baking away and there's no office there, so I get to have the luxury of having my office at home and going to the factory for a couple of hours a day. So I won't be on the line. I'll be just creating products.
Amazing. Well, Rowie, it's always amazing to catch up with you. It's, as it was last time, quite an emotional roller coaster. Just to listen to, I can't even imagine what you've been through in the last year. And we're very honoured to have you share your story on Deep in the Weeds again. I actually really look forward to catching up with you again and hearing, what's next for Food and Heart Co. as the company develops and knocks down walls and goes big again, just like Rowie's cakes?
So it will be a success, and because it's been created through passion, but also created through the determination that I have as an individual, but also through sheer belief. And everyone out there, my past landlords, my suppliers, my customers, my staff, even yourself and Rob and Colin and all of the people that I've dealt with, my friends, everyone wants me to succeed. Everyone knows that I can do it, and I know that I can because you're all telling me to, and I really want my world back.
Rowie, you're amazing. Please keep in touch, and good luck. Very much looking forward to seeing your product out there, and we'll talk again soon.
Talk again soon. Thank you for Deep in the Weeds, Huck and Rob. It's really, it truly is something phenomenal and magical, and congratulations.
Well, thank you, Rowie. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yes, you will.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we share the stories of Australia's hospo community, suppliers and producers in search of hope during this pandemic. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.